nice, but the Wi-Fi wasn't doing as great
in
the different areas, but it was going off and on.
Good morning. Good morning.
Seems like
25
a little bit higher than me. You know, you are.
20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10 seconds.
Hey, y'all.
All right, here we go, everybody. Look lively. Here we go.
All right, producer.
Like we were. God bless you. God bless you. God bless every one of you. Listen, this is the day that the Lord has made. You know how I'm feeling. I'm rejoicing and I am extremely glad in it. Yep, I am here.
He's back.
You know what this is. You know who I is. This is Back to Basics. Eyes of Faith radio broadcast emanating from the very fine studios of WBGR. And I'm excited about being here. Got my co-host and my cohorts in here with me. Listen, we got people walking in right now. While we're doing it, people just walking in. Yes, there he is. There's the man, the proprietor, the CEO, the man, Mr. Lionel Green. He is out there right now. We're excited about him. And listen, we're glad to have all of you all coming on that are on my YouTube family. Thank you all so very, very much. I appreciate you. As well as WBGR. You all are always doing it. Thank you so very, very much. And how do I appreciate my Facebook Live family? Thank you so very, very much. Always being right there. My daughter Gwen Thompson, I see you. Wanda Briscoe, miss seeing your face. I love you, baby. Are you back from Atlanta? Are you back from Atlanta? So good to see you. So good to see all of you all coming on, and you mean that much to me. Listen, before I talk about my cohorts, my co-hosts, let me just tell you that they held it down last week. I was so blessed, even though I was in Albany, New York.
That's where
Can
the
I
cold,
tell you? No, it was cold.
That's
cold.
Yeah.
You know.
You saw snow.
No, I didn't see snow. I saw snow.
The real snow.
I saw snow.
We had fake snow here.
No, y'all ain't have no snow here. Y'all had no snow. I saw snow. When I got there, and they had 2 feet of snow before I got there, and had 20-foot tall push snow in the parking lot where I was staying. And then when I got there, I was welcomed by a foot of snow. You know, I mean, it was amazing. And I tried to come on and show you all where I was and all of that kind of stuff. And let me tell you, we had church every night. Everything else was shut down, but we had church. They picked me up. Brother Dave and his beautiful, wonderful wife, Tracy, they picked me up in a BMW Sports car. No, not an SUV, not a truck, not a Jeep, not a Dodge Durango. You know, not a Denali. They picked me
so they used to that life.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh no, I got so ashamed when I got in the car. I said, I am not in the DMV. I was so embarrassed for my area that we just, I talked with your mother when I called her. She says, yeah, they're talking about some snow maybe coming. They're thinking it might be 2 inches, but school is already closed 2 hours early and got it 2 hours late. I said, I just came through snow with a foot of snow.
That's because we don't know how to handle it.
No, you don't know how to handle it at all. But they said to me, shout out to Pastor Paul Parsons, and the New Birth Fellowship Community Church. Thank you all so much. You and your wonderful, wonderful wife, Lady Marva. I appreciate you and your kids. You all were so great. And they said to me, you know, that the oldest person in the church is the pastor and his wife, and they're like 46, 47.
I heard,
And so they're just young people who are on a mission. And they said, we brought you in here because you have to give us directions for our destiny. So we've got to be here every night. And they were in there. I mean, just a wonderful congregation. I believe it's what heaven looks like because it was a mixture of people people from, you know, the Bahamas, from Trinidad, every ethnicity.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a beautiful, beautiful spirit there. And they just sat there, and I'm telling you, it was a foot of snow coming down, and the guys were out there shoveling and everything. And I said, I've got to let you all go. And they said, no, keep going, keep going. I said, this is not my ministry. This is not DMV. They wanted whatever I had to release. And I'm telling you, good to see you, my dear sister, Sister Tracy. They wanted the word of God.
They were hungry.
And I want people that are hungry for. Do you know that Jesus had all of the people around him, but there was only one woman that pulled at him, and he said, who touched me? And the disciples, religious people, said, you got all these folk around you, pushing you, jostling you, and you saying, who touched me? He said, no, there's a difference between somebody who is touching me and somebody who's surrounding me. He says, virtue is gone out of me. See, people that get in touch with the Lord pull at virtue. When I go places like that, I am so pregnant. It's hard preaching to churches that don't want anything or think they've already heard anything. I think you pulled in on it one night and you watched it and you said you said there was a lot of energy going on up there.
It was a lot. They were into it. You can tell that the passion was real.
Yeah,
the passion was real. It's genuine for sure.
What happens? And I think that's kind of, you know, people that press their way through weather are more hungry than those who only come when it's fair weather. Just like when we go to Africa, people who have to stand in traffic for 8 hours are more hungry for people who can pull up whenever they want to, get a parking space. Somebody's opening the door for them, opening the door to come into the church. They got cushioned seats and everything.
They made more sacrifice.
Oh, the sacrifice makes you more hungry. And I found that people who have no passion, it's because they don't really want anything. They either have gotten complacent with what they are in or lazy in what they are in, so they don't really want anything. But nevertheless, I want to say something about these two that are here right now, and I want them to introduce themselves, and they are here. You all can't see because she got the hat on, but Steph, she should be in here, but Steph, she don't have the mohawk sitting up on there no more. You know, she came in church on Sunday. I was like, who is this? You know, because I was looking for Steph, but there was somebody that came in with their hair not mohawked up. A different flavor.
And that's you don't know. You never know. You never know.
StephTheBest.net, .com, .org, .dot.edu, .llc. Sitting in the movie theater is a box of dots. You don't know what kind of flavor, cause she got a whole lot.
And would never run out of style, I'm trying to tell you. Because box of dots been in the movie theaters for...
No, Dot's been here forever.
I mean, I don't think I was born when they first came out.
No, you weren't. And I get upset when I go in there and I'm looking for dots. And now they got stuff like gummy worms.
Yeah.
And, is that what they call
the little
gummy
sour
bears?
patch.
And some, I'm like, who? Isn't that a Saturday morning cartoon? Gummy bear? I don't know. But anyway, you know who she is. My daughter, Steph. Greet the people, Steph. Come on.
Hey, good morning, WBGR. What's up? YouTube, Facebook. I'm super excited. I'm happy. You know what? God has blessed me with another day. Another morning, I have my right mind. I got the use of my limbs. I can breathe on my own. I'm really thankful.
Come
and
on,
you know,
now.
you was teaching that on this past Sunday. We gotta be thankful, and it just be the small things. We can be thankful for, you know, a minute, a day, or a weekend, or a holiday, but it should be all the time, 24 hours a day. And I'm just so grateful, and I'm thankful that you let me be a part of this show, this broadcast. You guys, make sure you share this. Be thankful for it. This is how you can show us that you're thankful. Just go ahead and swipe.
Please.
You know, repost the link. Come on, because we all need this basic teaching. I'm telling you, it's blessing me.
One of my sisters over in Ghana, I was upset because she got 100,000 people following her on YouTube.
Wow.
What?
I was like,
That's a lot.
who does this?
Right.
You know,
wow.
I'm like, what?
That's a lot of people.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's...
You know?
Yeah, that's not her. Hey, what y'all doing?
Yeah,
Come on.
Come on.
The YouTube is J.E. Sturdivant Ministries.
STRIES.com. I don't know what's up with you all. But I mean, they just doing it. So I think that maybe overseas, people have a different
absolutely
affection for YouTube than here.
Well, you know, also because we've had the chance and the privilege to be able to travel outside of the States.
Yeah.
You know, they don't really get caught up on the other things, whether it's television.
Right,
or
right,
radio.
right,
So
right.
We're distracted by a lot more here.
That's what it is.
Whether it's Instagram and those things. So our attention doesn't go to the things that we should be receiving.
There it is. There it is. And so we don't pay any attention. Because I was on my own station the other day, and I was like,
where the people?
I don't have nobody on here.
Yeah.
You know, so you all need to push YouTube, push it, push it. You know, that would really push it real good. Now, I need you all.
What's that, salt and pepper?
Ooh.
So you left there, Bolden.
Ooh, push it. Yeah. Y'all remember, see, that was when I was like, ooh, baby. But baby. That was when I was already up, but they came after me a little bit, but I still
We probably came as a result.
What? Wait a minute. Did you do that?
She did.
Did you go there? Was that
That's funny.
Is that what
Sorry,
you
We're transparent. Sorry.
Is that
Good
what
morning.
we're doing?
Good morning. Jeffries.
Have mercy.
Well, you back. Welcome back, sir.
I am back.
You are here.
On the right of
Hey,
me.
good morning, everybody.
And this hat is just a plain hat.
It goes with the material.
That's what it is. It's kind of like a suede thing. There's no writing on it.
No.
So don't get no ideas. She is one word, one name, one mic. Josiah!
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Uh-huh.
Facebook family, WBGR, and YouTube. Good morning. We are here, and of course, every week, the same time, same place. We welcome you to Eyes of Faith, Back to Basics program. One of the things that we really take pride and appreciate about this broadcast is, one, pastor having the vision for it, but then two, because we really just come to you with some basic principles and some simple teachings that can help you all around, whether it's emotional, mental, physical, spiritual. And even when we were just talking about just the weather and how you were in Albany, New York last week, and how that area is prepared for storms.
Absolutely.
It's amazing because a lot of times, and it's so crazy because we in the DMV, we're not prepared, but we know that we're going to always have 4 seasons in a year. But we're never prepared for the winter season. I don't know why we're never prepared for the winter season. But spring, summer, fall, we're always prepared. But I brought that up to say that even when it comes to life choices and life situations, you never know how the storms are going to happen. You never know when they're going to happen. You never know how it's going to affect you. But if you stay prepared, spiritually, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. And with these teachings that we give and bring to you every Wednesday on this broadcast, we're giving you the tools to help you handle the storms. So that's why we ask you to share this with your friends, family, and loved ones, because when the next storm comes, you won't be caught off guard. You won't know how to handle it. Right? That's it. So tune in, and we thank you all for sharing this. Kudos to you, Steph, last week for holding it down. You did a good job, darling.
Amazing.
You did a good job, and we are here. We always said that we're not able to do what we do if we don't have a good teacher who deposits into us. So we don't take any credit because, I mean, and even him, he has a teacher. Everybody had to have somebody that they receive from. And when you stop receiving from somebody, then you need to check your life.
Look, if all you have is you as a student and you as a teacher, you have a fool for a student and a fool for a teacher.
Absolutely.
Because all you know is what you know.
Absolutely.
I found, and I shared this not too long ago, I said people run from sound teaching.
Yeah.
Because it does not allow you to just be whatever you want to be.
Oh, true.
Teaching confronts you. Teaching
it hits you hard.
Challenges you. Teaching forces you to let go of your old norms, your old way of thinking, your old way of doing. It forces you to have to do something. And most people would rather avoid it than to make the change. It's kind of like if you go to the mirror and you see that there's something not right in the mirror. James talks about it. He says that, you know, it's kind of like you go to the mirror and you don't like what you see in the mirror. So what you do is you take down all the mirrors in your house.
You do.
You know, or, you know, man, I hate that mirror. Must be something wrong with it, you know. So then just get a little compact.
Yeah, you don't get the full body.
Yeah, you don't want to get the full body mirror because you just get the compact because, okay, it highlights what I want to see. And I only want to see my eyes. That's my strongest feature. I just want to see my nose because I like my strong feature. I got a good little ring right there. I like my nose. I like my lips. Okay, but I'm never going to smile when I'm doing it because I don't like my teeth. You know, so we then start getting mirrors based on what parts of us we want to deal with. And that's why most people will avoid teaching ministries. They love going to feel-good ministries.
Absolutely.
Promise me a car.
Yeah.
Promise me a house.
Yeah.
Promise me by the end of this week I'm going to get this. No, I'm going to teach you how to have faith so that if it does not happen by the end of this week, you're still holding on. Oh, I'm going to go to the church down the street then because it's going to say what I want to hear and I don't want to deal. What does that say right there in James, you know, chapter number 1, verse number 22 and 23? Very quickly, James 1, verse 22 and 23. I see my son, Roland Davenport, coming on, my daughter. You know, I see you, Tarina. Thank you so much. Read that for me, please. What does it say? James chapter 1, verse 22 and 23 and 24, please.
But be doers of the word.
Be what?
Doers of the word.
So that means that it's possible for you to come to a church, to a ministry, come to a conference, come to a teaching, and hear some wonderful information, and 20 years later still be no better than you were because you came and you were able to get good information, but you never applied the information that you got. I'm going to say this, I'm always amazed. I'll go someplace and I'll minister and somebody will hear me one time, whether I'm there for a week or for a night. And I will come back or they will hit me on Facebook and they're like, oh, Pastor, the word that you gave, I applied it. My business is taken off. Oh, the word that you gave, I applied it. And this has happened in my relationships. I wish I were in. I was talking to a brother just on Sunday. He says, I wish I was in the DMV area because I really would love to just sit under you, sit under your teaching. And he is right now saying, I'm working on some things on my schedule, whereas now I'm just going to be working Monday through Friday. I want to know, can I come down Friday night and just sit with you Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Well, that's normally the time I shut down to get ready for Sunday. But this is how desperate people are for what they perceive that I have. Yet I've got people that get this kind of teaching on a regular basis and won't come out for it. Why? Because those who don't have easy access to a thing value it more than those who have easy access to a thing. You don't know how much you enjoy breathing until you have difficulty breathing. You don't know how much you enjoy freedom until you are in jail. You don't know how much you enjoy certain foods until you're on a fast and you can't have them. Then you're saying, oh my God, I wish I would have done thus and such and such and such. And so I'm challenging everyone, you're just in the month of February. That's all you're in. You're just in the month of February. So why not do now what you promised you were going to do when this new year came in? How did you fall so far off? Certain things you cut off and said you weren't ever going to do again. You made yourself some commitments and some promises and said during the time that you were fasting, I'm not going to do this anymore. This person ain't never got to worry about me calling them no more. This bar ain't never got to worry about seeing me no more. This place ain't going to get no more of my drug money because I'm going to give my drug money to the Lord. I'm going to give my liquor money to the Lord. I'm going to give my cigarette money. I'm going to give my sex money. I'm going to give all my money. We made all these promises, and now we're in February, and we're back doing everything that we said we weren't going to do. And I'm just trying to figure out, what is the problem? The disconnect is not that you don't have the information, it's that you don't have the dedication to carry out what you have the information on. Come on, I see you, my dear sister, my sister, up there in the Delaware, Jersey way. Good to see you, Patricia Barnes Gibson. That is the wife of my brother, Bishop George Gibson, yes, of the Love Nation, Pastor Marvin, good to see you on there again, man. Again, you know, he always be posting stuff to get people to come after him.
I think it's great.
I think he does it on purpose.
Yeah.
I don't think he's even happy if he doesn't have somebody coming for him on his page. No. Yeah. Pastor Marvin says stuff and says, now come for me. Well, I mean, but you're saying that for them to come for you. I need you in my life, man. I need you in my life because you're crazy. You know, and it's too many sane people ain't doing nothing. So I need crazy people that are at least turning over the apple cart to make people see that there were at least apples in the cart. He says I'm out of shape, but my weapons are healthy. That boy, and he's got daughters. And so, you know, he's scary when it comes to his girls. Oh, yeah. You know, he crazy. Love you, man. Love you. Read that again for me, please, Johnson.
But be doers of the word.
Be what?
Doers of the word.
Be what?
Doers.
Be doers of the word. How many times are you going to keep hearing the doctor tell you, don't do this, and you keep doing it anyway?
Yeah.
How many times are you going to keep hearing the word of God say, don't do this, and you're going to keep doing it anyway?
See, you keep giving yourself false promises as far as, okay, at the beginning of the year, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to cut this out.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like, okay, you make these false promises and goals and visions and all of that, and you don't keep to it until you have no choice but to do it.
And I tell this every time anybody says they can't do something, whether it is something for their health or for their finances, all you have to do is let the doctor tell you one time, if you do this one more time, you'll die. You'll find people instantly, cold turkey, stop it. Why is that? Because the only time most of us will ever stop doing what we aren't supposed to be doing is when we are forced, when it's a challenge, when it's a threat. We won't do it. If you do this one more time, such and such is going to explode in you. Oh, well, let me get it on. And it's just the nature of us. We never do things until something happens. That's because most of us are not disciplined until we are threatened. And then all of a sudden we start saying, okay, I guess maybe I should do something. But God, I promise you, if you do it this time, I swear for God, on my mother, or on them, I swear for God, I'm going to do it this time. I swear for God. But I want to talk about that. Come on, read this, because I want to get into this teaching today.
And not hearers only.
Be doers of the word and not hearers only. Come on.
Deceiving yourselves.
There is no greater deception than self-deception. Every time that you hear, it gives you the impression that you now know something. You don't know what you have heard until you have done what you have heard. You don't really know it. You think you know it because you've heard it. You got information. One day I'm going to come on here and talk about the difference between, you know, what happens at the thought level and then what happens at the mind level, because those are two totally different things, you know. That's why when you tell somebody, you know, are you listening? And they say, I heard you. Two totally different things, you know. One gets to one level, one to another level. Of us up, messes people up as preachers, as pastors, as bishops, as apostles, people in church, is because we think that because we know what to teach, that is actually controlling our life and our lifestyle. And just because you are teaching it to everybody else doesn't mean that you're applying it yourself. And that's what comes up with the whole concept of the hypocrisy, because we are knowing something, but we are not applying what we know. It's like a doctor who tells you smoking is bad for your health and then goes outside after doing a surgery and lights a cigarette. You know, he knows what to tell everybody. He's just not applying it to himself. And then he starts justifying by saying, well, we all got to die from something. Well, you know, and that's good, which is why most Christians will say, you know, I know that this ain't right, and I'll still be doing it. Then when somebody check them on, they say, well, ain't nobody perfect. See, it's the same concept, you know, but you're supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to be. And most of us give ourselves that out so that we don't even give ourselves a chance to even try or to even put to test what the Lord says we have the ability to do, because we already have decided that's not what we really, really want. And everybody's going to be shocked because we're all thinking we're going to get to heaven and God's going to give us a pass because he can't send all of us to hell. Well, he's not sending any of us to hell. Our choices are sending us, not him. It's our choices. Come on. It says not hearers only because it's what?
Not hearers only because we're deceiving ourselves.
Deceiving ourselves, yep.
For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man observing his natural face in a mirror.
Now, here's what we was just now talking about. That's why I went to that. It's a man who observes his natural face
in a mirror.
In the mirror, what happens?
For he observes himself.
I see me.
Goes away.
I walk away.
And immediately forgets what kind of man he was.
And I forget who I was. I walked in that mirror and I know that I look like me. But I fooled myself when I left the house thinking that I was Idris Elba wrapped up in Denzel Washington with the swagger of with the body of LL Cool J and the swagger of what's the
Shamar Moore.
Yeah, Shamar Moore. I'm all of them. You know, and I'm thinking I'm all of that when I know that when I looked in the mirror I was dirty. How you gonna all of a sudden think? No. How you gonna come out thinking you're somebody else when you know you're dirty every time you look in the mirror? No.
That's why they don't look in the mirror.
Yeah, that's why they just get that little thing.
Yeah.
Because you keep forgetting the type of person that you are. I wanted to jump on something. I was thinking about this when I was coming, when I was in prayer last night, and then when I was coming here, the Lord opened it up some more to me. I want to talk a little bit about your family can function despite the dysfunction.
That's good.
Because that if it's true, if it's true that we know Romans 8:28, that all things work together for good to them that love God. Somebody put that on the screen for me, Romans 8:28. For them that love God and are the called according to his purpose. If that's true, and if it's true that Psalm 37:23, which says that the steps of a good man, of a good woman, as it were, are ordered by the Lord. And if it's true that Jeremiah 1, verse 4 and 5, Jeremiah 1, verse 4 and 5, before I formed you in the mother's womb, I knew you, I ordained you a prophet to the nations. If it's true, WBGR family, Jeremiah 29:11, I know the thoughts that I think towards you, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and an expected end. If it's true, YouTube family. Isaiah 46:10, that says that he is the God that is called our end from the beginning, and things that are not yet from ancient times, saying that my counsel shall stand. If that's all true, then that means that God, who is according to Revelation chapter 1, verse 8, Revelation 1, verse 8, he is both Alpha and Omega, beginning and end, first and last. He has already finished where he expects me to get, planned the steps for me to get there, and nothing that has happened or will happen in my life, as long as I stay true to what he has called as my purpose, can stop that from happening. That means that even if all of that is true, then if I come up in an abusive family and a broken home, and my heart broken because of the death of a family member or a child or whatever the case may be, at the end of it all, those things which lead to dysfunctions in family still are supposed to work to get me to where God has for me to be.
Yeah.
Now I said a lot of scriptures and I gave you a lot of things because God is not controlled by the vicissitudes, by the effects or the environments or the things that happen. He controls those things. He's not controlled by those things. He makes sure that whatever his plan is for you, boy, I'm messing you all up now, and I'm going to tell you how I'm going to mess you up. Because think about it. I told my daughters 2 years ago when my middle sister died, I was sitting around with my siblings. And when I was sitting around with my siblings, I was asking them, I said, did Mama, my mama's 96 years old. I said, did Mama ever tell you all about a child born before me and a child born after me, and neither one of them lived? It was 6 of us that survived. I said it was supposed to have been 8, and neither of those 2 lived, and I was born between death. And my siblings told me that I was not born between death, that I was a twin, and that because of the domestic violence in my home, where my father had pushed my mom down the steps, my twin got crushed by me, and it died, and I survived. Which means that somewhere in the mind of God, while his thoughts were towards me for peace and not of evil, to give me a future and an expected end, and called my end from the beginning, and things that are not yet from ancient time, and then ordered my steps, and before I was formed in my mother's womb, he knew me and ordained me to be what I am supposed to be. That means that even the death of my twin, so that I could live, was in the plan so that I could be talking to you today. So that I could birth my children, so that their destiny could come to pass. That means that even the abuse that my mother went through, and the sexual, physical, emotional abuse that was the hallmark of the dysfunction of our family, with all of the things that was going on, all of that worked together to make sure that my mother would be 96 years old now, to make sure that everything would happen as it did, so that we would learn as we did, so that we could be as we are, to make the impact. Had I not felt whatever I was feeling growing up that made me feel like I did not fit, that I was not this, I might would have raised my twins differently, but I raised my twins differently without even knowing that I was a twin. I had a something else. I raised my family a certain way because of something that I felt empty about. I never felt bad about being rejected by the street gangs, being rejected by the churches, being rejected by the pastors, being whatever like that, because I had already felt like there was an emptiness that I did not have anyhow, because who was a part of me when I came in was not a part of me when I came out. Everything, even the painful things and the dysfunctions, worked for the good of a particular purpose. And here's the thing, the purpose is not finished. There is so much more that has to be done. And every time I'm traveling now and I tell that story, someone comes up to me and says, you know, I was molested all of my life from a child to this and to that, because I talk about the sexual abuse in our family. Somebody else comes up and starts saying, I went through thus and such in my family. Somebody else comes up and says, I was always feeling ashamed because I stuttered. I said I stuttered because I tell them about how much I stuttered up until I was in my teen years and wedding to be and all those things like that. And I tell my story with great transparency. Why did I do that? Because the things that you keep secret are sometimes the things that's going to set somebody else free. And I'm talking to somebody right now. You're on the WBGR family. You're on the YouTube family. You're on Facebook. You're hearing some of this, some of you all for the very, very first time. Some of you all have known me for years of my life. Some of you all used to be in the ministry, and you've never heard me say this before, because I didn't find out until I was 59. I just found out 2 years ago. And so as I get things, I've been releasing things. Why? Because there are some things that God, are you ready for this? A nervous breakdown does not mean that your nerves are broken. A nerve breakdown is when your emotions are not mature enough to handle intel or information that you get at a certain stage. So there are some things that the Lord does not even allow you to get wind of in your nature or your emotional nature until you are mature enough to handle it. That's why some people have had some tragic situations, and you'll say, oh, no, but Janice, you went through that. You say, I don't remember that. Say, no, but you need such and such. I don't remember it. Why? Because your psyche, your subconscious has not allowed that to come to your conscious until you are at a stage where your conscience can handle the release of that intel or information of your subconscious. God is not allowing certain things to come so that you will have an emotional or nervous, as they call it, breakdown by letting some intel or information. And that's why people can have that out-of-body experience where someone, let's say they're getting raped or something, and they will say, I just left my body. You understand? I just left my body while that was done to me. Because they have to find a way to disassociate the event from the emotion, because the emotions are not able to handle the event. Well, I'm helping somebody right now. I'm helping you right now. I don't know who I'm saying all of this stuff for. I'm just talking about some of the dysfunction. I wanted to share some of it with you. But those types of things are happening every day, and it's happening in your life. And now you are going through emotions where you can't hug and don't know why you can't hug. You need a hug from someone and don't know why you can't get a hug. Your mother does not know how to embrace you, and you're trying to think that she just does not love you. Or your father never compliments you, and you're thinking that he's just jealous of you. No, sometimes the dysfunction is so deep and the emotion has not been able to handle certain things. And so you are now coming up in a time looking for an emotion from your father, an emotion from your mother, that they have not even matured emotionally. Here's what's even worse. They don't even know that they are damaged emotionally. And they can't even receive you telling them that they are damaged emotionally as to why. Because here's why they can't receive it. Because now they start saying, well, I was good enough to raise you. Yeah, but being good enough to raise me does not mean that there were not some tools that were missing. You can build a house and do fairly well with it, but if you don't have the right screwdriver, you can screw in the screw, but it won't be as tight as if you had the proper screwdriver for doing the work. And many people have been working and trying to build, as it were, my air quotes. They have tried to build their families, build their future, build their destiny with faulty material. And as a result of that, because I'm frustrated with my faulty material, I then try to numb myself to what I am feeling instead of getting the proper tools. So now I'm working on my house, but I'm a functioning alcoholic. I'm working on my house, but I am a functioning weed smoker. I'm working on my house, but I am a functioning sex addict. I'm working on my house, but I am a functioning overworker. I'm working on my house, but I am a functioning overachiever, because I'm still trying to prove something, trying to deal with something that I have not emotionally matured enough to deal with, to try to handle the dysfunction of something that came up in my home. And we're not going to throw off on homes. We're not throwing up because maybe your parents got all they got from the parents that they had, because I realized that there were some things that happened in my house with abuse that happened as a result of my mother marrying my father. God rest his soul. I appreciate him, even with whatever he was. One of the greatest things that he did, one of the greatest things my father did, was not use a condom on the night that he was creating me. Because I'm here for a purpose. There's something I am supposed to be doing. And the reason why my mother got with my father, who was 20 years older than her, and allowed herself to be abused, was because she came from a house where she saw her mother getting abused by her father. And the dysfunction carries from one generation to another generation. And even though my mother graduated summa cum laude from Minors Teachers College and had a major degree, and my father never finished beyond the 4th grade, what would make her be attracted to someone like that? She was looking for something in the father realm, something in the father arena, and wound up being attracted to something that was just like what her father was. And she stayed with the abuse of my father because she saw that type of staying with her mother with her father. But she got moved from out of that situation and wound up being raised by her aunt, which we called our grandmother, who was really not our grandmother. She was our aunt mama, and she was raised by her to try to give her a better opportunity. Being abused and watching that in her house got her pushed out of her house into the house of her aunt. Her aunt, who worked in the White House, she was a cleaner because that was during slavery time, worked in the White House, but had the ability to give my mother a better education, which she would have never gotten had she not seen and been in the abuse. Sometimes even the dysfunction works together so that your family can function. I said a mouthful. I saw y'all. Y'all are looking like, my God, we wasn't expecting all of that. What y'all want to say before I go ahead on? Come on.
The thing that you really have to just kind of keen in on everything that you said is that dysfunction does not have to equate to negativity.
Right.
And I think that's so important because we see something or we go through a traumatic situation
right.
or we go through something that doesn't feel good or doesn't look good, we automatically get rid of it.
Right.
You can still be shattered but not broken.
Come on.
And a lot of times when we are going through situations, we feel that, okay, because a chip of the vase has, come apart from the vase, that the vase cannot be of good use hold the water, to hold the flowers. But the vase is still good to be applied for the water and the flowers, but we just get rid of things just because a piece of it is broken. And I just want to encourage everybody, even with what Pastor is teaching on today, you really can function despite of the dysfunction, even if you've gone through some of the traumatic experiences, whether it's molestation, whether you have gone through abuse, whether you've gone through, things that have come from your family line. Although those things, because you was talking about purpose earlier, and you was talking about how God had a purpose for you that you may not have even known.
I didn't.
It would eliminate you blaming people and God once you actually know that God has a purpose for your life. It eliminates you questioning, all right, God, why am I not here? What's going on here? Once you know that God already knows your life and the purpose for your life, you can stop questioning as to why things aren't happening.
And you remember, I've told you all, I was, I used to do music. I was singing. I thought I was going to be a recording artist. I had all those things happening. I was on stage. I was doing plays and musicals. I thought that was going to be it. I thought I was going to be a lawyer. Then all of my sisters got pregnant, and my mother was supposed to be saving the money. But she was taking care of all of my sister's children. And so there was no money when I wanted to be a lawyer. All of my things got knocked out the window to put me at the point where ultimately I wound up working in a barbecue place, got fired from the barbecue place, went to go work for an industry dealing with Oriental rugs and carpeting and land carpeting, all of that. Got injured on that, and by getting injured and declared permanently disabled and not being able to get any suits or anything suing anybody because God said he was going to teach me faith, pushed me to where I am now in my walk with God. After I was told I would be permanently disabled, wouldn't be able to fly on an airplane, be on an elevator, do any of those type of things like that. Yes, yeah, absolutely. And so it is important that you understand even the bad things that supposedly crippled me, which is why I had to write the book, No Longer Crippled. The things that crippled me. It wasn't a physical cripple because I'm fine like that, but there are emotional, physical things that when it hurts you in your heart, it affects how you move physically.
And all the things that you thought that you were going to do is so crazy because it's some of the things that
that's why was why I was telling you when you were doing yours. I had to tell you that you're doing all of those things, but it's not that. But once you walked into what that was, now all of the other things are coming back around you. Seek first the kingdom of God, Matthew 6:33, Matthew 6:33, and his righteousness. Then all of these things that you're having to sweat and struggle and blow all your money on to try to get, he says, I'll just add them. I will just add them to you. Steph, what you want to say, dear heart?
This was just actually really great because what I was going to say kind of tied into what Janice said, but then it just was like it didn't really make sense in my mind. But then when she just followed up what she said, it's just like, yes, God, thank you. That was really good because I was thinking that word adapt kept coming in my mind. And I'm in this stage where I feel like because of certain things that have transpired during my life and where I was growing, I adapted to certain feelings and certain scenarios where I just move like this just because I know it'll be better if I move this way because of the outcome. But in all actuality, adapting to it didn't help me fulfill my purpose. It kind of blocked me from fulfilling my purpose. And I'm now trying to readapt back to how I should have been and what should have been the way, and not based off how I chose to feel because of certain things that are happening. It's amazing because literally everything does work together, and it's just, don't stop it because you felt like it wasn't working right here in this instance, and I'm starting to become negative, or I don't want to love, or I don't want to feel. Well, no, feel, deal, and then move on to fulfill your purpose. Because if you don't, then you start to form, I would say, thorns on your emotions, where you block certain people from coming in, and those people are really there to just help you and to help you grow. But because of things that have happened and you chose to adapt to it and not deal with it, you kind of block your blessing.
Push them away.
As soon as you said that, this thing came out because you said feel, deal, and then go on for your purpose. I wrote down feel, deal, then fulfill.
Yes.
Because see, after you feel what you feel. Deal with what you feel and why you feel it, then go on and fulfill your purpose. But you cannot fulfill as long as you refuse to feel and to deal. And that's what most people are trying to do. I'm just going on. And you're killing people along the way.
Right. And yourself.
And yourself, And so adapting is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can't be the be all and the end all.
Exactly.
It cannot be, because the real you is going to be frustrated because you keep trying to be the you that everybody's expecting you to be because you've adapted. And you've got to be the you that God ordained you to be. It's a chameleon. One of the things, one of my mentors, the late Dr. Miles Monroe said that people don't even know you. They don't know Steph. They don't know Janice. They don't know J.E. They don't know James. They don't know me. Because we become the product of our parents or our teachers or our environment. And so people are sitting next to you, but they're getting your father and your mother.
Right.
They're sitting next to you, but they're getting the past boyfriends, the past, bad relationships, because you have allowed what you have gone through to shape you. And you adapted. I get why I love people that weren't members of nobody's church? Because they're not coming with a preconceived idea of what church is supposed to be.
Exactly.
And I'm not knocking church people. I'm just saying that if you've been a member someplace else, you come with some of the ticks and some of the thorns and some of the ideologies of wherever you have been. How come we don't do this? This is what we used to do at my old church. And the thing that I'm always amazed at is that if that was what you wanted, why is your old church and you're here? You obviously came here because you were looking for something more than what you had. And yet people will then come and then be upset that we don't do what they've always done. And one of the worst things you can do is try to be a bad imitation of what somebody is a good original of. You can cut your hair a certain way, but you're not going to be Halle Berry.
No.
You can have the same. Your name is Steph Curry.
It is.
And you are older than him by what? Maybe a year?
I think I'm actually younger than him by like 3 months.
You're younger than him by 3 months. But you can't go out on the court. That's because your name is Steph Curry.
Exactly.
And we are not even being true to ourselves because we are so busy trying to, as Steph said, adapt. That's where that Steph EDU came in. Because some of you are listening to me, you're watching me, and you're right now trying to adapt to someone's concept of Christianity. And most of the people that are trying to get you to adapt to their concept of Christianity don't even go to church. They're not even Christians. And you're supposed to be a Christian. And you're supposed to be a Christian. And all of a sudden, these individuals who have never sniffed a church, who have never been active in anything are all of a sudden critiquing everything. All you have to do is look down the social media line on any given day, let some pastor, let some member, let somebody say something, and all of a sudden they're ripping the whole concept of Christianity up, and yet they won't even go into a ministry.
A lot of the choices that we make this day and time is based off other people's perspectives and not our own personal experiences.
Absolutely.
And we'll take, I mean, even news, our news based off what somebody's perspective is of a function.
Absolutely.
And we believe it.
Oh, yes. It used to be that the news was the news.
Right.
Now the newscasters become the news because they're putting their slant on everything.
Yeah.
You know, so list some of the things that are happening in your family, and I'm gonna drop this in you very, very quickly, and hopefully we'll pick it up again the next time we're together. Some of the things that are happening in your family and all, it's happening, and it is a dysfunction, and you don't know where it started, and you're carrying it out, even though you weren't born when it started. I'm gonna show you something. There is something right here. Steph, I'm in Genesis chapter number 26, verse number 6. Genesis 26, verse number 6. And here's what's happening. There's a famine in the land. There's a famine in the land. Matter of fact, let me go back to Genesis chapter number, I'm gonna go to Genesis chapter number 12, just to kind of start you all on something. Genesis chapter number 12, and let's look at verse number 13. And this is Abram, who is not yet Abraham because his name has not been changed yet. This is Abram and Sarai, S-A-R-A-I, and not Abraham and Sarah, because their names have not been changed yet because they've not become the father and mother of the nations. But they have now just escaped the whole thing that has taken place with Sodom and Gomorrah. They have gotten out of that, and they're now they're leaving that whole area, everything with Lot. They're leaving all of that. And it now says in Genesis chapter number 12, right there around verse 13. Is that what it is? Yeah. It says that when they get to this new place, they're coming in touch with this king named Abimelech, and they're saying, Abram says to Sarah, or Sarai, he says, now I want you to kind of lie when we get there. Yeah. You know, Sarai is somewhere around 75 years old, Abraham close to 100. Okay. You know, but they ain't the 175 like us. Because they still believe in God for the kids. Okay. Now read that for me, please, Steph.
Please say you are my sister.
Wait a minute. Abram says,
please say you are my sister.
When we get to this place, do what?
Please say you are my sister.
Please say that you are my sister. Why?
That it may be well with me.
I'm scared. So I need you to lie and say you my sister, because if you say you my wife, they might mess around and kill me to take you. Now here's what's crazy. How fine must she have been at 75 that he was afraid that somebody was going to kill him to take her. Please read.
That it may be well with me for your sake, and that I may live because of you.
I may live. Go ahead.
So it was when Abram came into Egypt that the Egyptians saw the woman that she was very beautiful.
She was beautiful. Fine. She was a fox. Go ahead.
The princes of Pharaoh also saw her and commanded her to Pharaoh. And the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house. Wow. He treated Abram well for her sake. He had sheep.
Look at the sister making sure that the brother all right. Learn about who she is so the brother can be all right.
Along with it.
Go ahead. That's some love right there. Come on.
He had sheep, oxen, male donkeys, male and female servants, female donkeys, and camels.
Wow. Now see, I wanted you all to get that. So now I want to come here, and that you now see that Abraham is a liar, and whoever you get connected with, your husband, your wife, you're not only taking on their name, you're taking on their nature. So Sarai takes on the spirit of her husband, and here is a family spirit dysfunction. Now, would you please go to Genesis chapter number 26, and let's look, how much of that do I want to do? Let's look, let's look please at verse number 6. Genesis 26, verse 6. Please read that.
So Isaac dwelt in Gerar. And the men.
Now Isaac is the son of Abram. Well, Abraham, because he was the promised son. So now here is Isaac, the son of Abraham. He is born. You'll see it in chapter number 21, verse 3. It says, and Abraham called the name of his son who was born to him, whom Sarai bore to him, Isaac. Now, he lied about Sarai being his wife in chapter 12, verse 13. Gave birth to a promised child in chapter number 21, verse 3. We're now in chapter number 26, verse number 6. Isaac is now married. Read.
And the men of the place asked about his wife, and he said, she is my sister.
Wait a minute. The men of the place asked about the very son of Abram, who had lied about Sarai being his sister way before Isaac was ever born. And now Isaac is grown, got a wife, and he's traveling now. And what happens? What the men of the city do what?
They asked about his wife.
Asked about his wife.
And he said, she is my sister.
He said what?
She is my sister.
He said what?
She is my sister.
So here is a spirit dysfunction of lying in the bloodline. His father lied about his wife being his sister before he was born. He gets born, has a wife, lies about his wife being her sister. Listen, it's the exact same spirit that is in the family. That is why just because you may not be connected to your father or connected to your mother does not mean you don't have the spirit of your father and your mother. Blood is thicker than water. Spirit is thicker than blood. And that's why I wrote that book, Learning to Soar. You're going to see it when you get in there. Chapters number 6 through 11. I talk about be careful. The devil knows your address. Meaning that your address, not your address, you know, like what your house number is, but he knows the address of your family. There are things that come down through your bloodline. And you're trying to figure out, why am I doing this? And then somebody say, you know, you're doing just like your father. My father was never in my life. He may have never physically been in your life, but the spirit of your father is in your life. That is why it is so important. Do you know that whenever you go to a doctor and they want to check your blood, they ask about what did your father have? Why? Because you carry the blood of your father in you, not your mama, the blood of your father in you. Was your father a diabetic? Did your father have heart attacks? If you go and lay on the psychiatrist's couch and you are having issues as a grown person, they will say, tell me about your upbringing. What was your father like? Why? Because that bloodline, that was why Joseph's blood was not in the child Jesus. That's why it says, unto us a child is born. That is the body, but a son is given. The son is Christ. The blood is Jesus. And so Mary could not carry and give birth to the Son of God. She gave birth to the child. So it is important that you understand that the seed, the very thing that's in your dad, it is flowing through you. And you may hate him, you may can't stand him, but that spirit is on him. And I found that there's stuff, when I started getting around and started learning about my father, I was going somewhere, I was preaching, my father was never in my life. I went down and preached in this place down in Virginia, and they said, Sturdivant? I said, yes. They said, are you any relationship to Daniel Sturdivant? I said, yeah, that's my father. They said, my God, I knew it when I saw you. Said, the way you stood in the pulpit, that's the way your father used to stand. And the way that you prayed is the way your father used to pray. Well, I knew my father was a prayer. I knew that they would bring him in for prayer, but I'd never been around him quite like that. But it was amazing when I stood up, the very same thing that people remembered about my father, they saw it in me, because the Spirit was still there. And I'm telling you, some of the demons that I've had to fight growing up, whether they were sexual promiscuity, whether they were not being faithful in family, whether it was not being the best I could have been with my wife and my children, it was the very same thing that I hated about my father, but I never dealt with concerning my father. It takes more than you hating a situation. What are you going to do to change the situation? Oh, I'm saying some stuff now. I'm saying some stuff. You are getting upset with various things in your family, and the question is, now that you are grown, what are you doing that's different than your family? I tell my children, I tell our ministry growing up, that just because you can say, well, that's a generational curse. Well, it's a generational curse until you kill it in your generation. Right. If you don't kill it in your generation, then you are promoting it in the next generation, which means that your children, which will be coming on the scene at some point, are going to now be dabbling in the very same thing that you are saying that you did not like in your previous family and that you carried over in yours. So don't get upset when you start seeing the same traits coming up in your children that you never dealt with in yourself. The very same spirit of lying, the very same spirit of sneaking, the very same spirit of going and doing undermining things, getting involved. I'm telling you, the affairs that I've had, I'm telling you, I've seen the same types of affairs in my children. The same types of people that I would get involved with. I've seen my children get involved with them. And I'm still going to keep on telling the truth. Why is that? Because it is important that you understand that just because you may have escaped it, if you don't kill that devil, if you don't kill him, he's going to still rise up and be in your children. I know y'all don't want to see it. Y'all don't want to hear that right now. But the truth is the truth anyhow. And you're not going to get too many ministers that are going to come on and talk to you honestly and tell you that, because most people are more concerned about maintaining their image than they are about walking in integrity. It is important that you become a man of God, a woman of God of integrity, and tell your children ahead of time so that they don't wind up fighting demons that they don't even know about, because your family can still function despite the dysfunction. I have run out of time. Come on, daughter.
Pastor has alluded in the teaching today, he's referenced a lot of his books, and I don't know if any of you all have them right now, especially the most book that he referenced today from the teaching, Learning to Soar, how to face life challenges, and he provides you with life lessons, and he talked about how the devil knows your address. Well, here's some of the books right here that you can purchase and you can get from his personal website. These books will bless your life, your ministry, and your family. You can get these books on his website at www.jesturdevantministries.com. Again, www.jesturdevantministries.com. You can purchase them and we'll ship them out to you. Or if his teaching or his ministry has been a blessing and you want to sow a seed to say, Pastor, we thank you for your anointing and ministry, you can do that via Cash App, and his handle is the $, capital D, lowercase r, capital J, capital E, capital S. Or if you want Pastor Sturdivant to be a part of your next conference, anniversary, service, event that you're having this year, please contact me, Janice Sturdivant. I can be reached at 301-736-2383.
Tell them again, daughter.
301-736-2383. 301-736-2383.
You got to call. You got to get in touch. We'd be happy to come and share with you. Absolutely. And again, you know who I am, but what your name is?
Step Best.
And who are you again?
I'm Janice.
And I am Pastor J.E. Sturdivant, Pastor Faith United Ministries, 7905 Fernham Lane in District Heights, Maryland. I want to encourage you, get into a Bible teaching, Bible preaching, Bible believing ministry. And listen, tonight I'm going to be teaching a little bit. We're going to be praying a lot at our ministry, but we're going to be giving away free groceries afterwards, as we do every single Wednesday. We want you to come and be a part of that. Thank you, Mr. Lionel Green. Thank you to your lovely wife. And we remind you again, some people are on the air because they can afford to be on the air. Others on the air because they like the way they sound on the air. But we're on the air because what?
We got something to say. We got something to say. We got something to say.
God bless you. We appreciate you. I hope you heard it. I said what I said. I ain't taking it back. I said what I said. God bless you. We love you. We out of here. Thank you, WBGR family. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you so much, Facebook. Please send this on. We said some stuff today that you may have never heard before, and you probably will never hear again. But I want you to please, please get this out. Somebody's going to be listening to this at another time, and they're going to need this. I opened up some stuff. I opened up some stuff personally Why do I do that? Why somebody said to me one time, Brother Sturdivant, don't say that. People don't need to know all of those secret things about you. Listen, as long as you keep it secret, somebody can use it against you. But the moment that you tell it, it becomes your testimony to the glory and the strength of God. I've been doing all of the preaching and teaching all around the world that I have been doing with all of this in me anyway. So don't act like it's not there. It's there, and God is still using me. Why? Because you can still function despite the dysfunction. God bless you.